This creek was like metre deep, gushing through the night after the rain. Glad it's gone down, so I'll have to cross that. This is the state of my kayak now, and my tent, and my pack. Okay, so day 8. In the morning, I was recovering from being battered by the storm. I set up my tent to just try and dry it out a little bit, because thankfully it wasn't raining in the morning. So I thought I'll just set it back up, try and air it out, try and give it a chance to dry a bit. There were still puddles in on the floor though, so I had to get my towel in there and just try and soak it all up and wring the towel out, and did that for a little while. But yeah, I knew that, well, on paper, from Calabrinda to Buckaringa wasn't going to be that far, and Joe told me that it wasn't that bad of a walk, so I wasn't in a great rush to leave. I thought I'd just give my tent a bit of a chance to dry. Eventually I packed up and headed off though. So yeah, then I was just trying to not slip over in all the mud. There were a few sort of tracks to follow that were just muddy, and then there was a fairly long dirt road walk that wasn't too bad. While I was walking along the dirt road, a ute pulled up, and it was the owner of that part of the land or something. That was his property. He asked me if I'd been caught in the storm the night before, and told him about it, and we had a laugh, and yeah. So he was just driving down to check the height of the creek water or something. I knew I had a couple of creek crossings to do, but I didn't really think that much of it. I didn't think they'd be that bad. But he said that his wife was trying to get back in from Port Augusta and the roads were closed. So anyway, we said goodbye, and then eventually I did come up to one of the creek crossings, and wowee, like, I walked up along it a bit, just trying to find a section where it wasn't as deep or it wasn't flowing as fast. I ended up picking a spot sort of in front of some rocks, so I thought if I could get through across the first half, and it sort of come up to I think it was just above my knees. So that wasn't that bad, and the current wasn't that strong, so I got to that point, and then the second half of it I could sort of jump across on these big rocks. Took a photo when I got to the other side. So that was a bit of an adventure, and then I was back up walking along a track, trying to avoid the mud again. I decided to sit down and have some lunch and take my shoes off and try and air my feet out a bit, I guess. Everything was soaking wet, obviously, but then I don't know if that was the best idea, because then my feet just got cold while I was having lunch. So quickly finished up, put my dripping shoes back on, and kept going. After a little while, I had to climb over this stile, and then the trail, and then it was just a proper little single trail but it led down to the second creek, the second and last creek I think it would have been of that day. And from what I could see of it, I just thought, oh my god, how am I going to get across this? And it was then that I actually recognized a pack sitting on like a park bench, and I knew it was Matt's. So I actually ran into Matt there, and his plan was, he knew it was uncrossable. His plan was to set up camp there, and then have a go the next morning. Me being me, kind of just wanted to stick to my itinerary and get to Buckaringa camp. So we went down to the creek and had a look. We got across a small section of it, and then walked across to the last, like the bigger main section of it, and Matt actually went out and had a go, and it just, yeah, it would have got way too deep and the current was flowing way too fast, so that was a no-go. So then Matt had the idea of heading back out to the road, the dirt road, and following that around, because he knew that the creek crossed the road at one point. He didn't know what it would look like, but we were hoping that it was like a built-up road for the creek. When we got there though, it was it was still up too high to try and cross. We did actually give it a go. Matt got down to his jocks. I had my shorts on and my bra, and yeah, we had a go at crossing it, and it was already up above our waists, and we weren't even halfway across, and we were starting to lose like footing. So yeah, Matt called it and said, no, we'll turn around, it's gonna be way too deep. We weren't at the middle yet. So yeah, turned around, came back, put our dry clothes back on. We were going to wait a while longer. The water was going down just very slowly, so we're going to wait a little while longer and then try again maybe. But by that stage I was kind of just getting like cold and uncomfortable, and I said to Matt, no, I reckon we should just find a spot to set up camp here and have another go at it in the morning. So yeah, we did that. So we were still a few k's away from Buckaringa, so for me it just meant I'd just have to add that on to the next day, and the next day would be a longer day. Yeah, Matt gave me a couple of his spare boot laces that I could use for guy lines for my tent, because I was paranoid about it blowing away with me inside it again. And I went off and collected a heap of like big rocks to put on the stakes and put inside the tent as well. Yeah, I was a bit paranoid, but and it did come up a bit blowy that night, and it was still like spitting rain on and off all that day. Yeah, so that was day 8, just being stopped in our tracks by creek crossings. Just, yeah, crazy deep, fast flowing creeks after a crazy storm. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is. Just gotta go with the flow, so to speak. So anyway, I'll catch you for day 9. See ya.